All right, let's get right into it. You ever get that feeling when you're staring at the screens? Something's off. You see these little glitches, right? Anomalies in the data that just don't quite add up. At first, you brush them off, but then you start pulling on one of those threads and you realize, wait a second, these aren't just glitches, they're signals.
So it starts with something small, almost nothing. I go to check ADSB Exchange, the public flight tracker we all use to see where the corporate jets are flying. It's a classic move, right? Trying to get a jump on some M&A news. And what do I get? This. Problem fetching data from the server. Just down. An open source Intel tool that's always on suddenly goes quiet. Strange.
And then another one. I pop over to alternativedata.org, which is a great spot for finding new data sets, new ways to get an edge, and what does it say? Taking a break. Seriously. A whole directory of data providers just gone. So now we've got two key public data sources that have gone dark. And the first rule of this game is there are no coincidences.
So you got to ask the question, right? Why? Why is the very data we use to get a peek behind the curtain suddenly just vanishing? Are these just random tech issues, or is somebody quietly flipping the light switch off on us? Okay, before we dive any deeper down this particular rabbit hole, you know the drill, we got to put up the old compliance shield. So listen, this is just educational banter. It is absolutely not financial advice. I'm just a simple space ape staring at the matrix, pointing out some flickers on the screen, all right? Good, now that we've made the lawyers happy, let's get into what's really going on here.
So to really get what's happening, first you have to understand how the machine works. And the fuel that powers this entire machine, well, it's you. You are the signal. Every single thing you do online, every click, every search, every video, it all leaves a digital breadcrumb. And I mean everything. The system doesn't just know you watched a video about space. No, it knows you watched 3 of them. It doesn't just see that you clicked on some fashion video. It knows you got bored and bounced after exactly 30 seconds. All these little, seemingly meaningless actions, they're all logged, cataloged, and used to build a profile of not just what you're interested in, but literally how you think. And then you stumble across something like this, and you realize they're not even trying to hide it. This is from a company called Breakout Point. They scoop up all that data, your clicks, your forum posts, all of it, and they package it up neatly. And who do they sell this package to? Right there in black and white for professional investors. Just let that sink in for a second. You aren't the customer here. You, your thoughts, your trades, you are the product, and you're being sold to the very people on the other side of your trades. So, okay, let's flip the coin and look at the other side. Let's talk about the people who are buying your data, the ones running what I call the smart money machine. And look, we are not talking about some guy with a business degree from a state school. No offense. We're talking about firms like Citadel. They have over 265 PhDs on staff. And not just in finance. We're talking about PhDs in atmospheric science, in aeronautics, in pure mathematics. That is a truly staggering amount of brain power, all aimed at one single goal, analyzing data to beat you. I mean, just look at the difference in the toolkits here. It's almost funny. On their side, you've got petabytes of alternative data, those 265 PhDs, custom-built AI models, and, oh yeah, direct access to Lobby Washington. And what do we have? A free trading app on our phone, and Wall Street bets. This isn't just an unfair fight. We're not even playing the same sport. And get this, they don't just play the game better than anyone else. They're actively trying to write the rules. I pulled this right from Citadel's own website. These are policy positions. They are sending comment letters directly to the SEC, trying to shape the regulations for private funds, for securities lending, for the whole shebang. And here's the kicker. While they demand perfect, real-time data on everything we do, their own operations are tucked away in places like the Cayman Islands. You can literally find accounting firms advertising Cayman Islands Fund Auditor as a service. So it's a one-way mirror, you see. They get maximum visibility into us, and we get minimum visibility into them. But this is where the story takes a really strange turn. Because this whole incredible, data-hungry machine they've built, this engine designed to eliminate every last shred of uncertainty, is now facing a massive contradiction. It's moving into a world where the data just doesn't exist. And bam, this headline from Institutional Investor just spells it right out. Beliefs, not empirical evidence. After building an entire empire based on hard data, on facts, on empirical evidence,
The so-called smart money is now pouring into assets where value is driven purely by belief. It's the ultimate irony, isn't it? So what are we even talking about here? These are illiquid assets, basically stuff that's really hard to sell quickly. Think private companies, venture capital funds. The easiest way to think about it, it's like Beanie Babies for billionaires. There's no public stock ticker. The price is literally whatever a handful of them decide to agree it is. And this, right here, is the next big anomaly. This is the next evolution of the game. They've already mastered the public markets, so now a whole new matrix is being built, one that's almost completely hidden from view. So what's the new gold rush in this private world? Well, if you look at reports from places like JP Morgan, it's the physical backbone of AI. We're talking data centers. The demand for computing power is just exploding. Hundreds of billions of dollars are flooding into building these things. But here's the thing, you can't buy a piece of this on your app. This is a private game and a liquid game played entirely behind closed doors. And that brings us right back to the beginning, doesn't it? Those little glitches, the public data feeds going dark. Think about it. They used our public data, our behavior, to build and perfect the matrix that we're all trading in right now. So the question is, what happens when they build the next one entirely in private? It's a question worth thinking about. The game's always changing, so stay sharp. If you want to follow these data trails with me, you know what to do. Smash that like button, subscribe to the tribe. And hey, if you're looking to gear up, I've dropped some free stock promos for Public, Webull, and Moomoo down in the description. Catch you on the flip side.